Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here with my next Avatar news update video. So this is just a relatively quick one. We've got two pieces of news, but they're both pretty brief, but sort of interesting. First of all, I Am Toph, the fourth Little Golden Book, fourth I Am book, has gone up on Edelweiss, as you can see here. So we get the further kind of marketing points, and one of these marketing points reveals an interesting kind of future plan for this series, which is down here. You can see this one. We are working towards an Avatar Little Golden Book boxed set in time for the movie in fall 2025. Now, obviously, we know now the movie's actually, January 2026. You'll note that, like in this one, they referenced the October date previously, so obviously it's a little bit out of date here. But the idea seems to be that they are planning a box set of Avatar Little Golden Books, which, when this one comes out, gives us 4 of them. We will obviously have to wait and see. So is the plan for a box set of the 4? Is there going to be an I Am Sokka or anything like that? They're getting to the point where they're beginning to run out of, I think, the obvious characters to do this with, in that I'd be kind of surprised with a very kids-focused book if they do this for the villains or get into the sort of maybe like the less than main characters, but we'll have to wait and see what the plan is. So I'm guessing this will end up being a 4 or 5 book box set. Will they just go ahead and release it in the fall? Will they wait until kind of January? It's possible, because as you can see here, like, this is coming out in January. Could they wait the next year to do the box set? They absolutely could. And for people who've maybe been waiting or not buying these books, maybe at this point waiting for whatever this box set is might be a good idea. Myself, I'm kind of like, I hope there's not really like extra stuff going on. I hope it is just like a box that's more or less a mashup of the covers rather than anything fancy. But I know a lot of people just like to get all the stuff in one set, and that's what I think this should be, to kind of not punish people for actually like buying the books as they came out. Then the sort of main event piece of news here is that it appears that there has been another delay for the upcoming Avatar comic, The Bounty Hunter and the Tea Brewer. So you can see here it says August 20th. This previously was August 6th, and this has only changed in the last day or two. So it seems like for the mass market release date for the book has received a 2-week delay, August 6th to August 20th. It's up here. This is Penguin Random House. It's also Edelweiss has the same date for this book as well. Note that the comic book store date right now is still the same. You can see here on the Dark Horse website, it still says August 7th. Obviously, again, the comics have 2 separate release dates. The mass market date is a Tuesday, so that would be August 6th, but now the 20th. The comic book store date is always a Wednesday, because that's when comics come out, and so that's why it's a day later on August 7th. So if the comic date eventually changes to match, it would go to the 21st, but we have had precedents before for the dates being split. Because it's a somewhat late in the game date change, this could just be a distribution problem that affects the book distribution, and it doesn't affect comic distribution because they're done slightly differently depending on like stores and stuff like that. So yeah, Previews World also uses the comic book store date, and they also have August 7th. Now, these are a little slower to update than Edelweiss and certain other websites like Penguin. So we'll see maybe next week, because obviously this has happened just over the weekend, what exactly happens here. I personally don't mind that much that we have got a small release date change. I think the more frustrating release date change for this book were the ones that happened earlier into its announcement. That this book was meant to come out in May initially, and then a month later it got delayed into June. A month later it got delayed into July. A month after that it got delayed into August. This book had a very rough first couple of months, and I'm much more inclined to be annoyed at those changes rather than this slight adjustment of the date. The other thing is that I'm glad that this book is actually being a little bit separated away from the Reckoning of Roku, because I think it's been a problem, and I've been kind of highlighting this for the last couple of like weeks and months, is we go pretty much like an entire year with no new Avatar content, and then all of the releases for the year are basically scheduled to happen back to back to back in a couple of week period. That July 23rd, we're going to get Reckoning of Roku. And with the original date, like 2 weeks later, we're going to get the potentially only comic release of the year. And then in the middle of all of this, we probably are expecting the RPG, the Iroh adventure book, to release somewhere in the middle of this as well. Maybe it'll be in around July, maybe it'll be somewhere in August, but it's this crazy situation where there's like nothing before Roku for like canon content, and then pretty much once the RPG book comes out, like we're assuming like at the latest it'll be like end of August, maybe early September, nothing for the rest of the year unless the Mako comic fits in right at the end of the year, but that hasn't been announced yet. I'd rather have the separation, that way I can do proper coverage on Roku. I might, even if it comes out August 20th/21st, I might still be going on Roku coverage, just because like it depends on how many chapters in the book there are. But I like that the novel is given a chance to breathe ultimately, so that way when the comic comes around, I'm getting close to, or maybe have finished my coverage of the Roku book, and we can actually give this book some time, rather than kind of being like, well, I have to temporarily stop Roku coverage to cover this and then go back to Roku. That's a little bit frustrating. It's similar to what happened with like Netflix Avatar, because they released all the episodes at once. I definitely felt like I had to kind of rush the coverage. I was happy with what I was able to do, but I would have appreciated more time to actually do it. But that's just that side of things, obviously. So as it is right now, if you have a local comic book store, it seems like you will still be able to get the book, the kind of original, like the planned week of release. But something to keep an eye on for the weeks going forward is, will this date adjust to match, or are we getting a split release like we have in the past? Obviously, the way that this works is that if this doesn't adjust, then comic book store means like the digital release is not going to coincide with this date. The 20th is the digital release at this point. They don't tend to change that in any way to adjust. So that's the way to consider this. It's basically physical copy in your local comic book store versus buy it online from a variety of places, or in a bookstore that sells the comics. But also this is the date for the digital as well. So that's basically the video. Actually, now that I remember, probably should mention this. San Diego Comic-Con 2024 is coming up. It's happening, I did this a bit backwards, didn't I? It's happening July 25th to the 28th, so towards the end of July. But as you saw there, the week of July 8th is when they're going to reveal the full programming schedule, basically what panels are happening. So at some point during this week, I'm guessing if they're going to start July 8th, like it'll be like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Avatar panels usually Saturday or Sunday. So we probably are going to be waiting until like the end of this week to get the full schedule for what exactly is going on with Avatar. But, it's something, at least we know when the schedule is coming, rather than it being a random thing. They're telling us when the Comic-Con schedule will be. So we'll know what is and isn't happening with about 2 weeks to go until the event. So there is that. But yes, that has been the video. In the comments, let me know what your thoughts are on a potential box set for the I Am Little Golden books, and then a 2-week delay, so far only for the mass market release of the book, but maybe not the comic side of things. We have to see. What are your thoughts on that? And then Comic-Con news coming relatively shortly, just over a week, and we'll find out, I guess. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. But that has been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.